Okay. Fine enough. Let me do a chat, or yeah, I'll do a chat. So we'll do Dee Dee, Tim, and okay.
And I was thinking too, when we read it, just read it and then go back and kind of read again and see if we have any questions and look at the notes that we have, try to deal with questions, one canto, one verse at a time, so, kind of with some structure going through it.
Okay, let me say one thing. Anybody listen to the video? We're going to be focusing on Canto 20, which will be a new canto today. So Dee Dee, what your suggestion is that we read all the way through Canto 20, and then we go back and start dealing with it in pieces and notes and all that. Yeah, that's fine with me.
Yeah.
That's fine with me. Let me call up. Okay, get rid of that. And then we'll do this. Well, I had 30 dogs. Okay.
Shall I begin?
Yeah, let's go ahead and begin.
Okay, Canto 20. Oh, and let's see how many. What should we do about numbers? There's 150 words, and there are four of us.
150 lines, you say?
Yeah, 40 to 100.
Just read as much as you want.
Okay, and try to stop at a meaningful spot.
Well, my understanding, Dee Dee, was your suggestion was we were going to read it all the way through first.
Right, but I mean, just read till it seems like a good place to stop without going.
There's four of us, 450,
Is 40, it's 40, jeez.
I would just call it about 35. It's about 30.
Yeah, I was going to say about 37, 38.
Okay.
All right.
It's great.
Here goes. When he who all the world illuminates out of our hemispheres so far descends that on all sides the daylight is consumed, the heaven that erst by him alone was kindled doth suddenly reveal itself again by many lights, wherein is one resplendent, and came into my mind this act of heaven, when the ensign of the world and of its leaders had silent in the blessed beak become, because those living luminaries all by far more luminous did songs begin lapsing and falling from my memory. O gentle love that with a smile dost cloak thee, how ardent in those sparks didst thou appear, that had the breath alone of holy thoughts. After the precious and pellucid crystals with which begemmed the sixth light I beheld, silence imposed on the angelic bells, I seemed to hear the murmuring of a river that clear descendeth down from rock to rock, showing the affluence of its mountaintop. And as the sound upon the cithern's neck taketh its form, and as upon the vent of rustic pipe the wind that enters it, even thus, relieved from the delay of waiting, that murmuring of the eagle mounted up along its neck, as if it had been hollow. Thence it became a voice, and issued thence from out its beak in such a form of words as the heart waited for, wherein I wrote them. Someone could start there. This is where the eagle writes.
Okay, well, the next reader is Tim.
That part of me which in a mortal eagle sees and endures the sun, it said to me, I want you now to fix your gaze upon. Of all the fire souls which give me form, the ones that give the eye within my head is its brilliant luster, are the worthiest. He at the center, as the pupil's spark, wrote songs inspired by the Holy Spirit, and once conveyed the art from town to town. And now he knows the value of his psalms, so far as his own gifts contributed, for his bliss is commensurate to it. Of those 5 souls that form my eyebrows arch, the one who shines the closest to my beak consoled the widow who had lost her son. And now he knows from living this sweet life and having lived its opposite, how dear it costs a man to fail to follow Christ. The next.
He who comes next in the circumference of which I speak, upon its highest arc, did death postpone by penitence sincere. Now knoweth he that the eternal judgment suffers no change, albeit worthy prayer, make it below tomorrow of today. The next, who follows with the laws and me, under the good intent that bore bad fruit, became a Greek by ceding to the pastor. Now knoweth he how all the ill deduced, for his good action is not harmful to him, although the world thereby may be destroyed. And he whom in the downward arc thou seest, Guglielmo was, whom the same land deplores, that weepeth Charles and Frederick, yet alive. Now knoweth he how heaven enamoured is with a just king, and in the outward show of his effulgence he reveals it still. Who would believe down in the errant world that ever the Trojan rifles is this round could be the 5th one of the holy lights. Next, please.
Now he knows much of what the world cannot see of God's grace, although his sight does not discern its ground. Like a lark that first soars in the air singing and then falls silent, contented with the final sweetness that satisfies it. So the image seemed contented with the imprint of the eternal pleasure, by whose desire each thing becomes what it is. And although up there I was, to my doubt, like glass to the color beneath, it brooked no waiting in silence. But from my mouth, what things are these? It impelled with all its force, whereat I saw great rejoicings flash forth. Then, with its eye more kindled, the blessed sign answered so as not to keep me suspended in amazement. Then with its eye, I see that you believe these things because I say them, but do not know how, so that though they are believed, they are hidden. You do as one who learns the name of a thing, but cannot see its quiddity if another does not set it forth. Regnum solorum suffers the violence of burning love and lively hope that overcome God's will. Not as one man defeated another, but they conquered it because it wished to be conquered, and conquered conquers with its good will. Next, back to Didi.
The first life of the eyebrow and the 5th caused the astonishment, because with them thou seest the region of the angels painted. They pass not from their bodies, as thou thinkest, Gentiles, but Christians in the steadfast faith of feet that were to suffer and had suffered. For one from hell, where no one e'er turns back unto goodwill, returned unto his bones, and that of living hope was the reward, of living hope that placed its efficacy in prayers to God made to resuscitate him, so that 'twere possible to move his will. The glorious soul concerning which I speak returned to the flesh, where brief its stay, believed in him who had the power to aid it, and in believing kindled to such fire of genuine love that at the second death worthy was to come unto this joy. Next.
Oh,
Tim.
yeah, I lost my place.
It's like
118.
118. 118.
The other soul, by means of grace that wells up from a spring so deep that no man's eye has ever plumbed the bottom of its source, devoted all his love to righteousness. And God, with grace on grace, opened his eyes to our redemption, and he saw the light. And he believed in this. From that time on, he could not bear the stench of pagan creed, and warned all its perverse practitioners. He was baptized more than 1,000 years before baptism was, and those three ladies you saw at the right wheel were his baptism. Predestination. Oh, how deeply hid your roots are from the vision of all those who cannot see the primal cause entire. You men who live on earth, be slow to judge, for even we who see God face to face still do not know the list of his elect. But we find this defect of ours a joy, since in this good perfected is our good. For whosoever God wills, we will too. Thus, with these words did the supernal sign administer to me sweet medicine to remedy the shortness of my sight. Next, Anne. Oh, we're almost the end.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
we're okay.
Anne Meisner, go ahead, finish.
Go.
I don't have the canto in front of me. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. And as good singer, a good lutenist accompanies with vibrations of the chords, whereby more pleasantness the song acquires. So while it spake, do I remember me that I beheld both of those blessed lights, even as the winking of the eyes concords, moving unto the words, their little flames. That's it.
right.
I
All
think.
right. Yep. So just to let you know, Ann Meisner, she stepped away.
Yeah, Duncan, what?
Canto
What?
20. Canto 20.
Yeah, I thought I had it all set up and I don't have the English translation, so I'm sorry.
That's
Oh.
okay. We just finished the English translation, so
Okay,
you can go to Digital Dante and get a translation, or to the Dartmouth Dante.
well, that's an idea. Okay,
Any of those will work. At this point, Digital Dante might be the easiest. But
okay.
so let me do this. Let me close this on.
Should I read Sarah's introduction to the canto?
Sure.
Perfect.
Okay. The eagle falls silent. The multiple voices burst into heavenly song. This is followed by a murmuring which, rising up through the neck of the sacred ensign, is converted once more into a single utterance. The eagle bids Dante fix his gaze upon the 6 lights which compose its pupil and the curve above its eye. These identify it as David, Trajan, Hezekiah, Constantine, William II of Sicily, and Ripheus the Trojan. These are the lights in the eagle's eye. Dante expresses his amazement at the presence of Trajan and Ripheus, who are declared by the eagle to have died in the true faith, and they were pre-Christian, pre-Christ.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's happening here.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's,
This is very challenging.
but it is very challenging. Yeah. So you may remember from 19, one of the big deals was that Dante was asking about the man on the Indus River. the good and moral man on the Indus River. And why couldn't he be saved? And the eagle basically said, because. So just suck it up, Dante.
Which,
And
Yes.
which line
Well,
is
you're
that?
in the,
I'm
no,
talking
that's
about
from 19.
Canto
Oh, no,
19.
which verse is that? Which line in the canto?
Of
Where does
19.
that, where is that present in the canto?
That's about line 60, as I remember.
Okay, because I'm looking. Oh, this is Constantine. That's who he's talking about, I guess.
Let's see if I can get. Let me go to 19 again. But I just wanted to set. I think it's important to set the theme that in 19 Dante was asking about the good man on the Indus River who had no chance of hearing the gospel and being saved by Christ. And, why would not that good man be saved?
Okay, this is Ripheus, a Trojan hero. That's line 68,
Which canto are you looking at?
20.
No, we're talking about 19.
I'm talking about.
Canto 19.
But he, in 20,
Mhm.
he was brought to heaven. He was in heaven. So Dante is finding out why, I think.
Yeah, that's Trajan, right?
Ripheus, a Trojan hero.
Okay, and also Trajan, I think. Was not
Yeah.
Trajan brought back to life?
Trajan was brought back to life by Pope Gregory.
Yeah,
that he could
just
die.
long enough to be saved, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. This is also a little earlier, 44.
Yeah. And Ripheus then,
Oh, there's a
he
story
was
about
baptized.
that. Yeah, there's a
Yeah,
story
he was
about
baptized, yeah, by faith,
Trajan,
hope, and charity.
as he was setting out for the wars, was stopped by a poor widow who asked for, it says here, redress for the death of her son, and he did what she wanted. It's mentioned in Purgatory as being an example of humility.
Yep.
And then Saint Gregory brought the dead emperor back from hell by his prayers and baptized him to salvation.
Yeah.
And it's said about here, A.P. Stanley, commentator, I suppose, Gregory's heart yearned toward those old pagan heroes or sages who had been gathered to their father without hearing the name of Christ. He could not bear to think, with the belief that prevailed at that time, that they had been consigned to destruction. And one especially was Trajan. So Pope Gregory.
Mm-hmm.
And Ripheus, I think, was supposed to have been baptized by the theological virtues, faith, hope, and charity.
I didn't hear what you said, and I'm sorry, could you say that again?
Sorry, Ripheus, is that how you pronounce his name? That he was, yeah, but it's a Dantean invention, but that he was baptized by the theological virtues of faith, hope, and charity.
Those were the three
Next
ladies.
to in the procession, yeah.
Okay.
But he made it up, obviously.
So Trajan was in limbo, not in hell, and was Ripheus came from Ripheus. Probably was in limbo too.
Yeah, but this is very complex.
Yeah.
And, because we just had that in Canto 19, we just had the case of the man on the Indus and the Ethiopian, who, according to the eagle, were not necessarily going to be saved. And yet here we are in the next canto with two people who obviously did not hear the gospel or were baptized or knew of Jesus, are saved, which adds even more complexity to the situation. And I think there's an implied promise that, the eagle can't tell Dante, but perhaps the good man on the Indus and the Ethiopian might also be saved, but they will be saved perhaps like Trajan was saved. Someone will pray for their souls. Maybe the implication is that if Dante prays long enough and hard enough for the good man on the Indus and for the Ethiopian, they might be saved also.
The beginning of the canto, he who all the world illuminates. It seems like it means the sun. No, I mean, it's the heaven that erst by him alone was kindled. I mean, is this the eagle? Is this God without a capital letter?
I don't think it's the eagle.
Does suddenly reveal itself again, like night falls and all the stars come out? What is the image? What is the image?
Yeah, hold on. Let me take a look at some notes that I have here. I don't think it's the eagle who lights everything. I think that when things are lit, then the eagle starts speaking.
Sun.
Yeah, I think he who lights is actually just the sun. When he who lights all the world descends below our hemisphere, and the day on every side is consumed. So I think that's clearly the sun.
In Sayre's line 10, outbroke those living lights. The multiple song of the lights which burst forth when the beak is silent is compared to the shining forth of starlight which occurs when the sky is dark.
Okay.
It's an interesting note here, lines 22 to 30. And as the music's sound forms into notes, it starts there. And she says, this is not the first time that Dante has described the transformation of sound into articulated speech. And then she gives some examples of Inferno, two examples from Inferno where this happens. The music becomes speech.
Okay. May I suggest that we go back and so like in line 1, 2, and 3, I think we can agree that that is the sun. Do we agree that that's the sun being
Yeah, I
referred?
think that's what Sayers says too.
Just something that's a note that's here. It says that according to Dante's astronomy, stars do not glow with their own energy, but derived their light from the sun, and it's from the convivium.
Okay,
So
so
it
they were
is-
like mirrors. They were like mirrors. And when
Yeah,
the
that's
sun-
interesting.
When the sun would go down, the light from the sun would go and reflect off the stars. Is that the
I
idea?
assume so. I
Yeah,
think
and
so,
that's
yes.
really interesting in astronomy because that's true of the planets. It's true of the moon, but it's not true of the stars.
Mhm.
But the planets are what they saw best at that point, I would imagine.
Hmm. Okay, so lines 4 through 6, the sky, which earlier was lit by him alone, the sun, suddenly becomes visible again with many lights in which one light is reflected. Okay, so that
Yeah.
seems good. And this act of the sky came to my mind as the sign of the world, and its governors stilled its blessed beak.
So that's the eagle.
Okay,
So that's what the eagle is. The ensign of the world and of its leaders.
Yeah, the eagle's reading his mind. It came into my mind, this act of heaven. He doesn't ask the question, he doesn't need to. The eagle knows what he's thinking.
and at least in my mind right now, the implication is that actually the eagle is deriving his light from the true source of light, which of course is God. So the eagle and those leaders who make up the eagle are reflected light from the highest of lights.
Line, what? 15, I guess. Oh, gentle love that with a smile does cloak thee. Is the eagle is being addressed there, I guess.
If you don't mind, let's go back to line 10.
Postpone.
This actually strikes this for all the living light shining much more brightly began songs that had lapsed and fallen from my memory. Oh, sweet love, the mantle yourself was smiling. How ardent you seemed in those flutes that breathed only with holy thoughts. So at least in my mind, the eagle and the emperors that make up the eagle's beak are receiving their lights from the Imperium. Just as the stars receive their light from the setting sun. I think that's
Hmm.
well, this is seems like purely aesthetic stuff. Huh. Okay.
Good. That sounds positive.
Yeah, well, he's converting a visual image into sounds.
This is, Sayers says much on the principle of the telephone by which the sound waves are transmitted as electric vibrations and turned back into sound waves when they reach the receiver. This is how Sayers talks about that.
Mhm.
Are you talking about the sound at the end of the canto?
Probably.
A gurgling sound?
We're talking about in Canto 20.
9, 10.
Do you have Canto 20 in front of you, Ann?
No, I can't find it.
Oh, well, let me just copy it and put it in chat. And you can use it that you can get it that way here. Here's copy. Here's chat. Okay, and just click on this. You see it in the chat?
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, you can't.
My system, I don't have the bar.
Are you on Zoom or are you on Zoom app?
No. I'm on a Zoom, but the thing is, the images of everybody fill the screen, and I don't have the bar that I can mute this or
You don't
input
have
that.
view, gallery view.
Okay, so
little-
you know what?
little
I got
buttons
one
up
other
on top.
option here. I got one
I don't
other
want
option.
to tie up your time in this.
No, it's all right. It's all right. This is okay. All right, so I'm going to share.
Okay, there you go.
You see that?
Yes.
Yeah. It's perfect.
Okay.
I have it.
Oh,
Okay, there,
brilliant.
The only
there
problem with
you,
you won't have the line numbers. That's
right,
the only
okay.
problem about this. But what I want to point out is this canto starts with visual stuff. And then the visual stuff is converted into sound stuff.
It might be interesting just to reread it,
Okay, what do you want to reread?
the whole thing.
Um,
And we could stop along the way.
yeah, I think at this point, bits and pieces are necessary.
Yeah, but I mean, little by little.
Okay, let me see how. This is,
Oh,
what's happening there? Oh, I know what's happening. It's showing two translations on the share
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah,
Bonds
yeah.
and Longfellows.
fellows, yeah.
That's a little, but anyway. Okay, to me, this first part, all it's really doing is it's getting us set up. He's overwhelming us with the poetry. So he can get our attention that by the time the eagle starts speaking, we're focused. But all
You-
this other stuff,
Do you object to just reading that whole part again before the eagle speaks?
no, I don't object.
No, I would like to do that.
All right, so reading up to what point?
To where the eagle speaks.
Okay,
31, the eagle starts at 31.
yeah, okay, so you want to read, all right, you want to just
No,
go
no,
ahead.
32 or something.
On mine, the eagle starts speaking on line 31.
So
All right,
maybe Anne could read.
No, I can't, I can't get this to scroll, so,
Oh,
sorry.
okay,
why would it scroll?
Or if it's only Duncan can. It's Duncan's.
I don't know what
oh,
it
I
is.
can get the scroll, there we are, that's what you mean. Yeah,
Yeah, I can't,
Okay,
so did you want me to read if you,
Yeah,
yeah, you read and I'll scroll.
okay, is the opening,
When
Then-
he who all the world illuminates.
yeah, okay, I'll read. And I'll read the Longfellow. When he who all the world illuminates out of our hemisphere so far descends that on all sides the daylight is consumed, the heaven that erst by him alone was kindled doth suddenly reveal itself again by many lights, wherein is one resplendent. And came into my mind this act of heaven, when the ensign of the world and of its leaders had silent in the blessed beak become. Because those living luminaries all, by far more luminous, did songs begin, lapsing and falling alone of falling from my memory. O gentle love, that with a smile dost cloak thee, how ardent in those sparks didst thou appear that had the breath alone of holy thoughts. After the precious and pellucid crystals with which begemmed the sixth light I beheld, silence imposed on the angelic bells. I seemed to hear the murmuring of a river that clear descendeth down from rock to rock, showing the affluence of its mountain top. And as the sound upon the earthen neck taketh its form, and as upon the vent of rustic pipe, the wind that enters it, even thus, relieved from the delay of waiting, that murmuring of the eagle mounted up along its neck as if it had been hollow. There it became a voice and issued thence and issued thence from out its beak in such a form of words as the heart waited for within I wrote them. The
Okay.
part in me, that's it.
Yep.
Okay, Dee Dee.
oh, this is the eagle.
Now the eagle's speaking,
Second.
or something in the eagle. Remember, the eagle is actually made up of what, 5 or 6 former emperors?
The part in me which sees and bears the sun in mortal eagles. So the eagle is talking about himself. It began to me, now fixedly must needs to be looked upon, for of the fires of which I make my figure, those whence the eye doth sparkle in my head of all their orders, the supremest are.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
He who is shining in the midst as pupil was once the singer of the Holy Spirit who bore the ark from city to city.
So basically,
I
that
think that was David.
Yeah, but I want to bring out clearly that the eagle, which is composed of multiple emperors, is basically saying, focus on my eye.
David
Now-
is the pupil. Sorry, Duncan. David is the pupil of the eye.
Okay, and is the primary person.
So he's talking about David now as coming up.
He's
Now,
talking
no,
about David as pupil of the eye.
and the singer of the Holy Spirit.
Yeah,
Now knoweth he the merit of his song in so far as effect of his own counsel by the reward which is commensurate. So there's his song is it has its effects, its rewarding effects. Of five that make a circle for my brow, he that approacheth nearest to my beak did the poor widow for her son console. So that's Trajan.
Yeah.
Now knowing how dearly it doth cost not following Christ by the experience of the sweet life and of its opposite. So that was Trajan, and he was in limbo.
mhm.
He-
We have David as the pupil, and then we have five others that make the circle for the brow,
Mhm.
and then we have and the one on the brow that's closest to the beak is Trajan.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
He who comes next in the circumference of which I speak, upon its highest arc, did death postpone by penitence sincere. Now knoweth he that the eternal judgment suffers no change, albeit worthy prayer maketh below tomorrow of today. So his worthy prayer changed today into a better tomorrow, or that can happen with worthy prayer. The next two follows with the laws in me under the good intent that bore bad fruit became a Greek by ceding to the pastor. Now knoweth he how all the ill deduced from his good action is not harmful to him, although the world thereby may be destroyed. Oh my goodness, is that Constantine?
What line?
It's 55, 56. That's Constantine. Because he ceded Rome to Pope Sylvester I, withdrawing eastward with the Roman laws and imperial standard and becoming the emperor of Byzantium. So he pulled away from Rome in the other direction. That's what's happening there. Should I keep doing this, or does somebody else want to?
You can keep those first.
Okay. And he whom in the downward arc thou seest, Guglielmo, was, whom the same land deplores that weepeth Charles and Frederick yet alive, not knowing he how heaven enamored is with a just king, and in the outward show of his effulgence he reveals it still. So Guglielmo, where are it? 60. William
William II of Sicily.
It's William II, the Norman king of Naples. His subjects not only mourn his death, but groan and lament under the sufferings of the next ruler, Charles, king of Apulia and Frederick, King of Aragon. Those two were already denounced by the eagle in Canto 19. William the Good, what reigned from 1166 to 1189, just and righteous ruler. He has a tomb now near Palermo, the Cathedral of Monreale. Oops. My door banged shut. Okay, so that was Guglielmo. Who would believe down in the errant world that Trojan Ripheus in this round could be the fifth, one of the holy lights? Not knoweth he enough of what the world has not the power to see of grace divine, although his sight may not discern the bottom. So Ripheus was the just and righteous Trojan. And he's the fifth of the eagle's eye, or the eagle's face, I guess. Like as a lark that in the air expatiates, first singing, and then silent with content of the last sweetness that doth satisfy her. Such seemed to me the image of the imprint of the eternal pleasure by whose will doth everything become the thing it is. I love that. I'm not so sure what it means, but it's lovely.
Hmm.
Would anyone want to read those two cantos again, those two verses? A more lyrical voice. And one of the ends.
Well, I don't have it on my screen.
Like as a lark. And oil.
Sorry, I'm lost.
No one's there.
Oh, I see it.
It's such a pretty two verses.
If you get there, Duncan, I'll read it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I can't scroll, so.
Yeah. Okay, I'm here. Go ahead.
But what
Ann.
I like, okay, the two of these, like
Yeah,
as a lark that in the air expatiates, first singing and then silent, with content of the last sweetness that doth satisfy her. Such seemed to me the image of the imprint of the eternal pleasure, by whose will doth everything become the thing it is.
And this is a good note here from Sayers. The imprint of the eternal will is here interpreted as meaning justice. By loving justice, i.e., by conforming to the will of God, each thing becomes its true self.
Yeah, and also the implication is that Dante looks at good emperors, whether they be Christian or pagan, as representatives of God's justice.
Right. That's what I have understood, everyone, that there are 6 characters here, 2 from the Old Testament, 2 from the Roman Empire, and 2 from Christian history. And that the ones that have not seen Christ, Dante has maybe invented the theory that because they were spiritually cognizant of good, that they would have ascended out of purgatory into paradise.
Yep. He's really doing double duty here. One, he's supporting emperors, good emperors.
Good.
And 2, it's part of his argument that you don't have to totally be kosher to be saved.
Yeah,
Right. And I
But
understand that was,
there are
Mhm.
tricks that can be done. So
mhm,
in the sense of, for Trajan, the trick was that there was a pope who prayed for him and he came back long enough to be baptized.
mhm.
so
Um,
he's contradicting what's taught by the church.
Exactly. And it was a
yeah,
controversial
yeah,
thing
yeah,
later,
he's-
then and later on, that you would have to have witnessed Christ and Christianity in order to be saved. But
right.
Dante is saying, if in your heart you have a spiritual affinity for goodness and ethical and moral behavior, you could be brought into the fold of heaven. It's Dante's invention. It's his own.
Oh, it is, yeah.
It's contrary to what is taught, but it also surfaces later on that what he has been fighting here, that you have to witness Christ and Christianity, emerges very strongly within the church.
What's coming up next is Dante talking in the scene, starting with 79, I guess. That would be a good thing for somebody to read. We can go ahead at that point, what Dante said, and then what the response was.
Something that I just like to point out first, I read it today in Berlin. This guy, Rippius the Trojan, one, Dante would have only heard of him through the Aeneid, which was written by Virgil.
Mhm.
And two, he only appears, he's very minor. He just appears 3 times when Troy falls.
Mhm,
Interesting. And then he picks him. Why, nobody knows.
mhm. And
But of course, I mean,
read-
Virgil was his master.
His guide.
He
Yeah.
was following Virgil
Mm. Yeah.
as a writer, as even the structure of the Commedia is inspired by Virgil's literary construct.
I would think that the selection of such a minor figure as
Mhm.
Rippius is actually kind of behind all that is Dante continuing to create his argument of why the good man on the Indus and the good Ethiopian should
Yeah,
be saved.
it gives us all hope.
Right, but he doesn't want to state it directly because that might be getting a little too close to the ecclesiastical flames.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
I
he's-
find
It's
it
interesting.
very,
It's
very
interesting.
interesting. I find it very interesting that the church, apparently, once they exiled him, left him alone.
I don't know, because he had to keep moving, didn't he? For his own
He did,
security.
yeah.
He did.
And they were
keep,
trying to trap with the man who gave him the refuge. The name.
And they were also trying to encourage him to come back, but thankfully he didn't.
So, shall we go on? Somebody go on from there?
Yeah, who wants to read start from 79 to what, Sheila?
Well, this is what Dante says, and then maybe just what's it, standard? I think he keeps talking, so I would go along with what Dante is saying for a while anyway.
Okay, Tim, you want to read?
Okay, let's see. We're on line 75, is that?
79.
79.
79, Tim.
70. And notwithstanding to my doubt, I was as glass is to the color that invests it. To wait the time in silence, it endured not.
Just read
So
a
that a cry,
Sorry.
so that a cry burst forth. What's this I hear? As though its own weight forced my lips asunder. This roused great sparkling and much joyous cheer. And with an eye yet brighter and joconder, the blessed emblem answered me straightway, as loath to keep me thus suspense and wonder.
Oh, good.
I
So now the eagle is talking. Go ahead.
I see thou dost believe, because I say that these things are. The how escapes thy sight. So, though believe, they're hid, and thou dost stay like one who knows a thing by name aright. Yet of its quiddity makes no pretense to knowledge, till some other give him light. Regnum colorum suffereth violence from ardent love and living hope, which still conquer God's will and beat down his defense.
You know what? I would think pausing there is good because it's like faith in something you don't understand is welcome. And then this next part, this next three lines seems to be saying that there's something about this blind faith that people violate. Could you keep reading from there, Tim?
What line is this?
Again, regnum colorum, and then go on away.
Okay. Regnum colorum suffers violence gladly from fervent love, from vibrant hope. Only these powers can defeat God's will, not in the way one man conquers another, for that will wills its own defeat. And so defeated, it defeats through its own mercy.
What does that mean?
That's the parent. Okay, so I'll give you an example. This is sometimes when you're a parent, you want your child to challenge you, but you can't tell the child to challenge you. So, the reason that you want, let's say I wanted one of my children to challenge me, is actually to find out if they're ready for the next level, so to speak. So, the eagle had told him in Canto 19, hey, buck up, buddy. You don't understand, just accept it.
Yeah.
This particular case, Dante is challenging anyway, and the eagle is happy because he says, okay, good, you got it. You're willing to accept some things on faith, but you're also looking to go a little bit deeper. So you pass the test.
Good, thank you. That really helps. So maybe Tim should keep reading.
Not as man beats down man, himself doth will to suffer conquest, who by his own love conquered comes conquering and unconquerable. The first soul of the eyebrow and the fifth cause you to wonder as you see this realm of the angelic host adorned with them. They did not leave their bodies as you think as pagans, but as Christians with firm faith in feet that suffered and in feet that would. One came from hell, where there is no return to righteous will, back to his flesh and bones, and this was the reward for living hope. The living hope that
Which one was that? The one who came from hell?
That would be Trajan.
Oh, okay.
Trajan.
I thought Trajan was, well, I guess limbo is hell.
Yeah, it is in the Inferno, although it's kind of at the gates.
Sorry, Tim. This was my idea, that we would go through it a second time, and I for one anyhow, making sure I have some understanding of what I've read.
Yeah, that's good. It's working,
And
it's a little stumbly at times, but it's working. So that's good.
But I think the thing is that it challenges our knowledge, and like the whole idea that you have to witness Christ to be saved. Dante is inventing things here.
Oh, yeah.
He's expanding on, let's say, the Ripheus character out of an Aeneid. He's kind of
That's
like,
right.
I think, favoring people he cares about, like Virgil. Bring in one of Virgil's characters who has made it to heaven. It's a PR piece.
Well,
I mean,
Yes.
it's a tactic called crudely slicing the salami.
wait.
If you want a salami, but you can't just grab the whole salami,
yeah,
you ask for a slice, and then
yeah,
you ask for another slice, and then you
yeah.
ask for another slice. So it gives the situation time to adjust to a radical change, and I think that's what
Right.
he's doing here.
Yeah, and but he's looking at this work as a poem, or as an, well, he's trying to reconcile all kinds of things anyway.
But that really makes sense, Anne, that it's Virgil who
It is, yeah.
he's so passionate about.
Yes.
And it also makes us think about Virgil. Why wasn't he saved?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, and
Yeah.
that's, we've talked about that before too. Why
Yeah,
wasn't,
absolutely.
and it always seems such a shame that he can take Dante from hell to through purgatory, but he can't be in heaven.
Yeah, and that, and he has to leave him.
Yeah.
That's right.
well, maybe there's a happy story in the sense that maybe the sequel to the Commedia was that after the
Yeah.
Commedia is published and people and the authorities realize what a wonderful thing Virgil has done, that he will be given.
Maybe he had that in mind, but I don't think he wrote anything after the Commedia.
I think he died.
He
I think he
died.
died.
He
Yeah.
died.
So it's our job. We have to save Virgil.
It's our
Exactly.
he left it to us. It's kind of a nice idea. Maybe someone has tried. Why don't we just go to the end?
The end.
Let's see, what did we last read?
Where did you stop, Tim?
This is still Trajan. Okay.
One came from hell. Oh, well, let's see.
What line is that?
Oh, yeah.
106.
Okay.
Okay.
Oops. Wrong one.
So why don't we read some more? What
Okay.
was the reading order? We got off track.
It's all right. Tim, you want to read some more, or are you done?
Okay. For one from hell, where spirits never grope back to right will, into his flesh and bone return. This was the guerdon of living hope, the living hope that nerved the orison, made unto God to raise him up, endower his will once more with motions of his own. Which glorious soul, when for a little hour it thus resumed the body whence it came, believed on him that hath the saving power, and so believing, loved with ardent flame so bright that at the second death 'twas found worthy to join our high celestial gain.
Mhm.
So Trajan was, God allowed the prayers, influenced God to bring Trajan long enough alive, to bring him to life long enough to
So that he
believe
could
in,
die.
believe in Christ.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yep. So we got a couple of themes here. We had the theme of prayer, the power of prayer. We had the power of love, because it was love that brought about the prayer. And then the combination of love and prayer brought about salvation for
Yes.
someone who had not heard Christ or been baptized.
Mm.
That's all pretty radical stuff.
It sure
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
That's poetic imagery.
Mhm. All right, onward. We still got
The other by a grace from such deep ground, gushing, that no created eye can plumb its hidden wellspring, where they run profound. On righteousness spent all his earthly sum of love, whence God from grace to grace unsealed his eyes to the redemption yet to come. Then he, believing in the truth revealed, the stench of pagan filth no more could bear, and scourged the vice with which the land was filled. Ere ever baptism was 1,000 year, he was baptized, though at the car's right wheel sawest those three ladies who his proxies were. Predestined. Go
This is
ahead.
yeah,
Rippius.
hold on.
This is
Yeah, let's stop
Rippius.
there. Yeah, Riphius, but I think the more important thing than the Riphius was this verse. This is the way my verse reads. Those three ladies were his baptism,
Yeah,
who you saw by the right wheel, more than 1,000 years before baptizing.
Baptizing.
That's pretty freaking radical.
Mm-hmm.
that was the prayers of Saint Gregory.
No, that was
Those three ladies,
the
faith, hope, and charity, or whatever.
the theological virtues, faith, hope, and charity. This is Rippius. This isn't Trajan.
No, but
Trajan was saved by Pope Gregory.
but let's see. Both of them, the orison made unto God to raise him up. The prayers of Saint. So Rippius was before Saint Gregory. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, Riphius is Troy.
He's Troy.
He's
The
he's
Trojan
the
War.
one that was said to be in the Aeneid, and
Mhm.
his and he had ethical behavior.
So
Yeah.
the three ladies here, what Sayers is saying, took the place of baptism for Riphius, are those whom Dante saw dancing at the right wheel of the triumphal car in the
Exactly.
paradise.
Yep.
Right.
Faith, hope, and charity.
Charity. Yep.
He had those virtues.
But he's doing a very radical thing there. I think this is part of my slicing the salami argument. At first, he brings up Trajan being saved, but Trajan was saved because a pope prayed for him, and because of the pope's prayer, Trajan came back to life long enough to be baptized. So
Grace.
that's a bit radical in itself, but I would insist it's not as radical as the idea that faith, hope, and charity, the
I
blessings
know.
of faith, hope, and charity can replace baptism altogether.
1,000 years before.
That's a more radical
That is,
his
yeah.
part. So that's part of the slicing the salami technique is, you slice the first slice of the salami in such a way that it's just a little bit radical. And then the second slice is more radical than that. But you can get away with it because you've already prepared people to accept a movement in that direction.
Mhm.
So
So
maybe
very
we can,
clever of Mr. Dante.
maybe we
Yeah.
can read more of this now.
Okay.
Okay. Where are we?
This 130, I think, is
Yes, it is. It is. All right, I'll read a little bit unless somebody else is reading. And you want to read?
No, you're fine. Go ahead, Duncan.
Okay. Oh, predestination. How removed is your root from the sight of those who do not see the first cause, tota? All right, what does that mean?
Well, predestination would mean that you, whatever, it's not up to you to choose salvation. It's predestined. It's God's
Mhm.
will. And then what was the next line? Toto? Toto?
Tota.
yeah,
Pre-
people who don't have the whole picture have the wrong idea about what predestination is. It's
Mhm.
about faith, hope, and charity. It isn't about formal baptism. I think that's what that's saying.
Well, let me
Okay.
read my note from Derling,
Okay.
which is strictly on this particular one. When from the high watchtower of his providence he looks out, ex alta providentiae speculata respisit, he sees and takes note of what is suitable to each and arranges what he knows to be fitting. The image of the watchtower makes vivid the emphasis on sight in lines, blah, blah, blah. But I would say the image of the watchtower means that Dante is taking a higher view.
There's a good note here from Sayers too. Predestination is a mystery of grace, deeper even than the vision of saints who see God.
And what does that mean?
Well, it's the depth of vision that even saints who I guess their teachings influence the church, even deeper than that vision, predestination really is.
Okay, I think he's kind of redefining or broadening the idea of predestination.
Mhm.
Okay, all right.
Well,
Let me go.
but-
Here we go. I'm going to start reading.
Okay.
133. And you mortals, hold back from judging, for we who see God do not yet know all the elect. Powerful statement there. And such lack delights us, because our good is refined in this good, that what God wishes, we wish too. Very good on that. So,
What we don't understand, but we want it because that's what God wishes.
right, and even if the church tells us something, that may not be exactly what's on God's mind.
Yeah.
Okay, thus, by that divine image, to clear my short sight, sweet medicine was dispensed to me. So I think his hope for the saving of the righteous man on the Indus is revived. And also, I think his secret hope that Virgil will make it to paradise is revived as well. And as
And
a good flute player,
Yeah,
make
these last two verses are now wonderful.
Mhm. And as a good lute player makes the vibration of the strings follow a good singer, so the song becomes more pleasing. Thus, while it spoke, I remember that I watched the two blessed lights as the blinking of two eyes agrees, moving their flames with the words.
I want to read the Longfellow too.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
After this manner, by that shape divine, to make clear in me my short-sightedness, was given to me a pleasant medicine. And as a good singer, a good lutenist accompanies with vibrations of the chords, whereby more pleasantness the song acquires. So while it spake, do I remember me that I beheld both of those blessed lights, even as the winking of the eyes concords, moving unto the words their little flames. So he's elated. He's having this happy sense that what he's doing is what he needs to do, to
And
represent.
who are the two blessed eyes that are blinking?
I don't know. I'm Beatrice, the eagle.
Trajan and Ripheus.
Ah,
Hmm. Ah.
So, once again, because even after the eagle in Canto 19 has shut him down and told him, hey, just accept what's going on. In Canto 20, because the examples of Trajan and Ripheus are brought up, that Dante knows that all is not lost by any means.
and Sarah's agrees with you.
Okay.
No.
Well, I'm glad to know that I agree with Sayers.
Exactly.
You got to be careful with compliments on me. I might get out of line.
Oh,
Well, it's good to have her endorsement.
Yeah.
indeed.
Believe me, I'm not complaining
Very
about it.
smart.
Oh my goodness! We actually got through it, and it is 3 minutes before the half hour. Fantastic.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was fun. We're ready for 21. They'll have to do it on their own.
Oh dear.
Well, they can, we'll just recommend that they watch our illuminating discussion.
Okay. Excellent.
All right.
And
Very good.
my kids were here all week. And my children.
Well, oh, that's nice, Dee Dee.
Oh,
I've changed the name of my house. It's now called Hotel.
Ann's Hotel.
Oh my God.
Start a chain.
One car drives out the yard, another car comes in the yard, and everyone wants to stay. It's just been, well, it's a treat, but it's demanding. I was talking to a friend. It's not just that people want to stay with you, but they want to know what to do in Cleveland. So then you have to plan the itinerary for the entertainment. Oh.
We could have used you.
Yeah, we had a great time. Thank you. Yeah, I did come up with some, well, the Mocha Museum was the highlight, Sheila.
Oh, that wonderful rug. Oh, there is something
rug
in Cleveland. I don't know. The museum is called MOCA.
Mhm.
Contemporary art.
Contemporary art. And there's an exhibit. Half a gallery is a rug fiber. And it's a landscape that you walk on. You have to take off your shoes. And there are flowers and grass, and then there's a scene. It's all one rug. It's awesome. If you could get a picture of it via the internet, it would be worth looking at.
Yeah, my company was doing cartwheels on it, and playing. Oh man, it was great.
Hmm.
It feels that you're part of it,
Mm.
that you're part of the
It's
picture.
what's wonderful about the exhibits we have now going are they're all interactive. So people of all
Yes.
ages in your family can play with each other in these environments.
It's
Yeah, and
amazing.
Anne and I had a great time without being children when we started.
I bet you did. And I think it was, I can't remember, it was a few months ago anyway, I went to one in London and it was Vincent van Gogh, and you
Oh.
became part of his picture.
Oh, was that one of those immersion things?
Yeah, it was amazing.
Oh,
Absolutely
oh.
incredible.
Oh,
Mhm.
nice.
Well,
Mm,
good.
Nice. We're really blessed.
absolutely.
But I can't find Canto 20 in translation. I wonder why.
Oh.
It's probably in some bed here at the house.
No,
Oh dear.
you've been busy.
Yeah.
Oh dear. But I,
Well,
I'm glad you got here even without your book.
yeah, but thanks for today. It was great. I had done some
Absolutely.
prep. Yeah, I had done some prep on it. So but you clarified it even much more. And then it's just an act of faith, isn't it?
Right.
Exactly.
good. It's good. So I had a
Yeah.
very good time.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
great, Duncan. Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
made good progress here. And I will see you all next Wednesday.
And
do
are
you think we
are
moved
you
it? Sorry.
are you doing Ulysses tomorrow night, or are you doing?
Yeah.
We're not doing
Yeah.
Ulysses no.
Oh.
No, we're not
Aren't-
doing Ulysses tomorrow night.
Okay.
Aren't we?
But we will be doing it, I'm pretty sure, the following Thursday.
Okay.
Oh. Is there
Yeah.
no Ulysses tomorrow night?
No. We have to clarify. When Anne refers to tomorrow night, she's talking about a time when you are deep asleep.
Okay. Oh, that's okay. I was very upset.
So no, we will be doing Ulysses
Oh, thank you.
tomorrow. You're tomorrow night and an hour tomorrow afternoon at the usual time.
Oh,
1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 7 p.m. Dublin time.
exactly. Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah. So,
Thank
but
you.
we also, I typically do also a Thursday, what is my evening. But we've done it for 3 or 4 weeks in a row because
Excellent.
the Finnegan's Wake thing has not been happening. Let's see, Finnegan Wake readers who are here, Dee Dee, you're here. And I don't think
No, I'm not.
you're not, okay. Because yesterday, things are gonna get, I think, a little shaky at Sweeney's for probably
Oh
the
dear.
next few months. Only because of
The
vacations.
summertime, yeah.
Yeah, so I was going to offer using the alt Dante as an alt Finnegan's Wake.
Very good.
But Dee Dee's the only one that needs to know about that.
Yeah, I hope so. I really love reading Finnegan's
I love
Wake.
reading it too, and my attitude is if Sweeney's isn't able to do it next week, that we'll just do an alt Finnegan's Wake and we'll use the alt Dante links.
Good.
But we won't know until we're almost there.
I hope we do.
Yeah. Okay. All right, folks.
Okay.
Thank you, Duncan.
Thank you
Thanks,
very much.
Duncan. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Everybody, it was really fun.
Bye, Anne.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Tim.
Need to find my way out of here.
I know.
All right. Now, this is a new thing for me. I don't know how. Oh, I got to stop share. And then I can end it. Okay, Ann Meisner, take care.
Thanks, Duncan.